प्रोफेसर पढ़ा रहा है ना उसके पीछे एकदम से कुछ परिंदे उड़ने शुरू हो गए हैं. The ideas aren't native. They're basically a mix of different people's ideas.
You have to be a little bit more mindful of what you're doing in Pakistan. Is this the right time to go outside?
पाकिस्तान के साथ ये थोड़ा ज़्यादा स्टिग्मा फील होता है.
Yes, but also as a woman, like you definitely feel it, like when you go outside.
Some people get in this very toxic mindset. I have to look a certain way. I have to behave a certain way.
It took me a very long time. I really just blocked off socializing.
बिल्कुल ही give up कर देना कुछ नहीं हो सकता.
Yeah.
Putting all your eggs in one basket. मैं कनाडा जा रहा हूँ. What if you're not able to make it there?
Yes, we have better immigration policies over there. That's what the backbone of Canada is. When it comes to healthcare, you pay through your taxes, and taxes over there are very high. The smart move would be, if you're going, or you have a job in place for you. They come to Canada for medication, we go over there for Costco.
I wouldn't say Islamabad is a cheap place.
It's not.
What you should make a goal of is pursuing your passion.
Not everyone is going to become rich.
But that's the dangling carrot. That is why everyone goes to work here, because that is why they follow people like Andrew Tate online.
If money was something that ensured your happiness, we would be seeing a lot of people happy and alive right now.
I think comfort comes with your expectations. Working from home, and I think that was what COVID brought as a blessing.
Yeah, true.
They're just shoveling snow all day. You wake up at 5 a.m. 3 foot, 4 foot, बर्फ उठा के गाड़ी से.
How cold it gets.
With wind chill, it can reach -30.
This was just last year, -52.2.
There's a company called Colossal Biosciences. They are going to be bringing woolly mammoths back. Millions of years ago, it was like the massive savannas of Africa. It was just trees, shrubs. That's like 1.5 trillion ton of carbon that's going to be released into the atmosphere. This is Jurassic Park with like a real purpose. Welcome back to ChayeWhy. Since आज मेरे दोनों co-hosts ने मुझे ditch कर दिया, I got two of my friends here, Samra and Fiza. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
So that's the best greeting you can do.
I really tried.
Okay, try again. ठीक है.
It's so nice.
Say it. Okay, me. You know what? I want a good greeting now.
No, I have to think about this.
Go ahead.
I haven't seen you in so many days. The last time I probably saw you was at my own wedding, which was last year.
Which was last year. Last year was like a month ago.
No, it was May of last year.
May of last year.
So
Okay. It's been a while. It's surely been a while. I think I met both of you. Tabhi, you know?
Yeah.
I believe so.
I'm pretty sure you met my sister at my wedding because I remember.
That's how we met. That's true. Okay, what's going on? How's life? What's happening?
Why'd you start? You're the older.
I'm the older.
You're the older.
You're the elder here.
इसीलिए हम उर्दू में करेंगे.
What's happening in my life? Nothing. I am working all night. I have a night job, by the way, every month. So I basically work from 8 to 5 a.m. in the morning. So ये मेरे लिए अभी सुबह है. ये मेरे midnight है actually. This is my midnight.
Yeah, this is when you go to sleep.
This is
when you wake up.
No, this is still me mid-sleeping.
Say it. So when do you actually wake up to start your day?
Probably like 4 or 5, if I'm lucky. Yeah.
Achha, what about you? You're in the normal human routine?
Yeah.
Suba uthna, shaam mein sona, raat mein.
Honestly, not sticking by that too much, but
But that's deliberate. Like it's not because
it's deliberate, yeah.
Say, I've done this, right? हमने ये पहले एक दफा बात की. I was doing 9 to 6, 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. and then फिर मेरी यूनिवर्सिटी होती थी 8 बजे. So I used to come back home और ऑफिस में होता था ज़ाहिर है. You have work from home, right?
Yes.
तो ये बहुत बड़ी गनीमत है, इसी कदर है जो उस टाइम पे आपको ऑफिस वगैरह सोचो जाना पड़ रहा है. फिर आप रश आवर whatever, you come back home. खैर उस टाइम पे तो रश आवर नहीं होता था, जाते हुए होता था.
Yeah, सुबह.
हाँ, exactly.
8 a.m.
वो जो यूनिवर्सिटी जाने शुरू हो जाते हैं कॉलेज,
yeah.
तो वो अजाब हो जाता था क्योंकि I used to come back home 10 मिनट के लिए. I used to just sit down, take a breath and then just leave again.
Yeah.
और बहुत दफा ऐसा होता था कि I used to just start dreaming in class while my eyes were open. क्योंकि मैं सोया नहीं होता था.
I know, I can
used to
relate.
be exhausted पूरी रात. और कई दफा ऐसा होता है कि कोई प्रोफेसर पढ़ा रहा है ना, उसके पीछे एकदम से कुछ परिंदे उड़ने शुरू हो गए हैं, कोई एकदम वो कोई वैलीज आ गई हैं.
Your imagination is wild.
I used to pinch myself कि कहाँ जा रहे हो. It was a wonderful experience. That not really. No, I hated it.
It sounds like a fever dream.
Yeah.
It used to be. What's that experience called when you're out of body experience? आप जो महसूस करते
Lucid
हैं.
dreaming?
It was sort of like that. I don't know if it was actually lucid dreaming
I
because
think
I
you were
wasn't.
daydreaming.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. But with my eyes open
Yeah,
and
so
while
that's
being
daydreaming.
wide
Oh, he
awake.
was seeing valleys and birds.
Yeah, I was wide awake. मतलब मैं जाग रहा
You were
हूँ.
hallucinating.
I was hallucinating.
Yeah, you were delirious.
Yeah,
I still
essentially that's what it is.
Yeah.
Khair, do you like this routine? Do you feel like अब
No.
settle होगी उसमें?
I mean, I don't like it. So, like, I don't think human beings naturally should be up all night.
That's true. That's true.
I miss the sun. I'm pretty sure I'm vitamin D deficient, which leads to a bunch of problems like depression, anxiety, and anything else you can just put in that, whatever. I'm fine, alhamdulillah, because I've been eating my vitamin D tablets like a crazy person.
But you're going against the natural cycle.
Order of things. I don't even like talking to people because everyone's sleeping to prevent my solitude.
So you don't get that social factor as well. तो जहाँ पे
I do, but so for example, I'll hang out with everyone, like my friends, whatnot, from like if I wake up at 5, then I'll hang out with people from like 6 to like 8, 6 to 9.
So that's at least there. You're still seeing people. It's not like बिल्कुल confined to your room and whatnot.
Okay, I have to spend time with my family. Sometimes this family.
I literally insert myself in the middle of the night. I just start calling her for no reason.
I'll be in the middle of a meeting.
Right.
Really important meeting with the CEO of the company. Because will be video calling me.
Patch it through, like
I have to insert some socialism inside.
I think अच्छी है ज़रूरी है एक तरह से, but obviously when she's in a meeting, you have to be a little careful.
To be fair, they don't actually know when their meetings are happening.
Right. Are you doing something right now, Fiza? What's your day look like?
Well, again, I told you I'm not sticking to my schedule all that well. So usually, nowadays I'm not doing it justice, but I do try to wake up as early as possible. That's not.
What is early kya aapki? What is early? Define early.
It depends. It depends on the day.
Chalo, on a good day.
On a good day, 10 a.m.
अच्छा फिर से.
But like on like
10 a.m.
I missed that.
But usually, nowadays it's like pretty late. But yeah, I'm just like working on my own little projects here and there for right now, and things are in the works.
Freelance stuff.
Freelance stuff and working with people.
She's an artiste also, an artiste.
An artiste, yes. But
do you paint?
I do paint.
Ah, interesting. Because as you can see, there's some here as well. वहाँ पे भी अभी हमने देखे थे.
Yeah, I saw.
Have you made those?
Very interesting.
What?
These.
Yeah, I made that. यहाँ पे और कुछ मैंने नहीं बनाया, but yeah, ये बनाया और जो हमने थोड़ी देर पहले देखे.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Yes, that was quite fun. That was your full creativity showing.
Not really. I mean, but then एक point पे I had to destroy a lot of paintings because.
I remember you were actually saved a painting for me. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I do.
Where is that painting?
So did you see the pani wali, ocean wali?
Yeah.
That's the same canvas. So I repurposed the canvas because I was bored of the koi fish.
So the painting you were supposed to give me,
right?
You were like,
nah.
Forget this girl. Even though I basically said, please take it. I have so many paintings.
Yeah. नहीं, so I think तब भी मेरा यही point था कि I was bored. और I wanted new things. You know, एक दीवार पे आपने लगा दी है, you get bored of them after a while.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to repurpose the canvases and make something new because I don't know, why not, right? नए canvas भी ला सकते हैं, लेकिन वो कहाँ लगाएंगे फिर? I just wanted the same wall to have new paintings. So I thought, hey, you know what? Same canvases को repurpose.
So like, do you tend to like when you are painting? Do you like have like inspiration from something, or does it come from your mind, or?
I think it's a mixed bag. Usually ये भी होता है कि I look at pictures and paintings and whatnot and try to get ideas. क्योंकि वैसे मेरी theory ये भी है कि ideas aren't native. They're basically a mix of different people's ideas. जो आपकी अपनी कोई original thought नहीं होती. It's just
the same with music.
The same with music, right? वो भी that's also an idea thing you're making. तो जो भी आपकी ये artistic outlet है, I think it's always going to be influenced by your experiences and the things you've seen and उनसे जो आपको पसंद है. You see this vase, you like this. Maybe you'll incorporate it into a painting.
Yeah.
That's not an original idea.
No, it's mostly derived from the idea of like emotions coming into a painting as well. and that could come across in different various. That's how abstract
Yeah.
is mostly coming across, right? So like you'll see if someone has an issue with like time running out, or there's like a theme.
I see what you mean.
Like if you've looked at Salvador Dali's work as well, that's the main theme around it. And
I mean, once you look at his mustache, you really can't get.
Yeah, that's
But
basically.
yeah. अभी मैंने I haven't really tried a lot of abstract painting. मैंने एक ही बनाई वो मेरे रूम में लगी है. Will look at it again. वो basically उसके पीछे यही thought process था कि I wanted to paint thought process. So you know how thoughts form in your mind, and then sometimes if something bad happens, they get clogged up, and you know dark thoughts take over, and they don't really let your creativity shine through or whatever. So I just wanted to sort of put that on a canvas and see, okay, what would that look like. So a lot of people don't get it. They look at it, they're like, oh, that's just paints, and you know.
No, I get it.
But when you know इसके पीछे thought process क्या है, then you understand.
I agree.
I feel like you're a very like deep person.
I think थोड़ा सा ये बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं क्योंकि इतना philosophical भी नहीं हूँ. I am very much a realistic person. But yeah, okay, you need to be in touch with your roots. You need to understand the depth behind things. You just can't take everything at face value.
Of course, yeah.
You know.
You should peel away the layers and see
Like
what's that.
Okay. Good. अच्छा खैर, so this is one thing that I wanted to talk about. और last podcast में अभी हम discuss कर रहे थे why people just want to run away from Pakistan. So to backtrack a little bit, both of these girls, they were brought up in Canada, in Toronto.
Yes.
In Toronto. So just walk us through, or walk me through rather, you know, that whole experience, you know, growing up in Canada, because you've seen people here and you know the brought up people have here. So I think you have a better lens जो आप compare कर सकते हो कि differences क्या हैं, culturally, traditionally, values क्या हैं. How was that experience growing up there?
Should I start?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so I was in Canada for around like 10-ish years, around 10, yeah.
11 years.
11 years, sorry. I guess when you're in Canada, like so my mom was a single parent there. My dad did not live with us, so it was just us 4 girls. We're 4 sisters. It's us 4 girls and our mom. So it was basically an extremely independent lifestyle, I would say. We lived in a very like multicultural community. So it wasn't like, you know, we definitely had people that looked like us around us. Like there were lots of like Pakistanis around us in our building. There were lots of Indians. Lots of like just very like a mixed lots of mixed backgrounds, right? So that was good. I would definitely say that it's definitely like a melting pot. So you definitely get to experience a lot of different cultures. You
Different
become
perspectives.
You also learn to become very respectful of other people's cultures. You know,
That's
religions, cultures, yeah.
Bilkul.
So there was that, and independence. I feel like my mom, both my parents actually, even my father, like they really stress the importance of being independent in life. Not being dependent on anyone when it comes to like financials, but just like whatever, just have like your own mind.
और उसमें थोड़ा हम dive करेंगे specifically इस point में भी, you know. You raised an interesting point कि you know because of the melting pot nature of it, you're more respectful of people's cultures and their values, and just you know जिस तरह पाकिस्तान में जब आप एक very एक छोटे कम mindset में आप अगर you know अगर हम typical बात करें, they're not very exposed to what the Indian culture is. अब ठीक है हमारा जो मीडिया है उसके थ्रू हम कंज्यूम करते थे, but हमें पता है okay they're playing with colors. ये नहीं पता why होली is a thing. इसी तरह you know different और भी जो चीजें होती हैं हमें कभी हमने bother नहीं किया कि क्या है क्या नहीं है, हमें पता है कि होता है बस, we didn't care much. So I think when you live in that sort of community और आप उनके साथ कभी बार वो participate भी कर रहे हैं you know in different events and they might be coming over for Eid, तो आप लोगों को वो थोड़ा maybe भाईचारा बढ़ जाता है, right?
Your tolerance for other cultures and that definitely increases, and I think you need that. Like this is just something people should just have, let's say.
हाँ होना चाहिए नहीं acceptance. I think वो इसी तरह आती है जब अब हमारे पाकिस्तानी हैं जब वो बाहर जाते हैं पाकिस्तानी इंडियन बांग्लादेशी they're like brothers, but यहाँ पे we're always fighting, right? But खैर, so you were taught to be independent.
Extremely independent there.
Right.
यहाँ पर of course we're independent as well. Like it's not that that's not, but like in the sense that like you have to be a little bit more mindful of what you're doing in
Mhm.
Pakistan, if that makes sense. Like, I won't be able to go and like get something myself. Like, those of us who stuff like, is this the right time to go outside?
Yeah.
Like, should I walk there? Because
So to
another
explain
thing,
this, you're talking about Khawateen in our society,
Yeah.
Pakistani
Mhm.
society.
Yeah.
बाहर जाने से पहले
Yeah.
सोचना पड़ेगा.
like for example in Canada, like you just walk everywhere and like I'm not saying Canada is like the safest place in the world. Like article, there's a lot of stuff happening there as well. But like within a certain time, and if you're around your neighborhood, you can still like go outside and like you'll be fine, right? And I'm not saying you're not going to be fine here. Like it's more. In my mind, it's better safe than sorry. Like 99% of the time, you're going to be fine and people are going to be great to you. Even in Pakistan, yes. But that like small percentage of time that something bad could possibly happen in your life.
तो देखो ये जो aspect है that should exist for Canada as well because like you said events happen everywhere good and
Yeah.
हर किस्म के इंसान हर जगह है ना अच्छे भी हैं बुरे भी हैं तो पाकिस्तान के साथ ये थोड़ा ज़्यादा स्टिग्मा फील होता है कि उस चीज़ को थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा एग्जैजरेट करके भी थोड़ा बताया जाता है.
Yes, I definitely agree with you there. Yes, exaggerate कभी कभार होता है, but also as a woman, like you definitely feel it, like when you go outside, for example.
Right.
पांच लोग आपको देख रहे होंगे. Just like you're walking down the street, it's not like you're wearing anything revealing, you're wearing your dupatta, you're wearing anything.
Right. I see what you
पांच लोग, like sometimes they will just come and like randomly start talking to you. Like if I was trying to get into my car, for example, यहाँ पर एक बंदा आके खड़ा हो जाएगा. Like why? Like, why are you here?
Right.
You get it? Like I'm not saying maybe they're trying to be helpful. I don't know.
No. I see what you're saying, or maybe I can't relate to it at the level you guys do because मेरे वो experience नहीं कर रहा हूँ. लेकिन you're right. I also have sisters और मेरा भी बड़ा रुका ध्यान होता है कि मतलब वो परेशान ना हो लोग जिस तरह परेशान करते हैं ना कि अगर आपको कोई stare भी कर रहा है, somebody is just looking at you weird और वो भी आपको एक annoying चीज लगेगी, right? Which I think is not happening in Canada. I don't think people have the time to just stare at you.
Yeah, definitely people, there's a lot more like a capitalistic mindset there. People literally genuinely don't have the time. They just want to get to their workplace and do their jobs and make money and go home.
I think मेरा ये theory पाकिस्तान के बारे में हमारे जो सबके बारे में नहीं ज़रा मैं थोड़ा generalized statement दे रहा हूँ लेकिन हम लोग बेले हैं.
Yeah, I would definitely agree.
Okay, in Pakistani people, some of the most helpful people also I've met here.
Pakistan.
Yeah. Like for example,
that goes down to our values, right? We're very mehman nawaz type of people. If we see someone who needs help on the road, वहाँ पे पूरा मजमा जमा हो जाएगा. लेकिन मजमा ऐसे भी जमा हो जाएगा कि यार में हम देखें क्या हो क्या रहा है entertainment के लिए.
Exactly. They'll be making videos.
हाँ.
Then they'll post it. And
तो
वो
बेलापन भी है.
Yeah.
तो वो I think वो थोड़ा उसकी वजह से शायद वो उसकी जो helpful nature है या जो उसकी positive things है वो थोड़ी mask हो जाती हैं.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a bit concerning, but it's like. Again, some of the most amazing, helpful people I've met here. For example, like if my car gets stuck somewhere, if I was abroad, I'd be like, I don't think anyone's going to help me.
लोग रुकेंगे नहीं.
यहाँ पर like, for example, me and my dad I think my tire puncture हो गया था, and just random person on the street. My dad is a bit elderly, so he just came. He stopped. He actually stopped his car. He came. He changed the tire for us. He didn't ask for anything. He left. Yeah. Or for example, if my car gets stuck. I've had multiple people come and like help, reverse the car for me. For example, I'm not able to do it myself. And it's not like they're weird or anything. They're great people. It's just so it's
नहीं इसमें पॉजिटिव चीज तो है लेकिन इसमें थोड़ी सी
it's a dichotomy, yeah.
हाँ मैंने खुद ये वाकया देखा.
Okay.
ये इधर F10 वाले एरिया में हो रहा था और वो कोई इतनी बड़ी जगह भी नहीं थी. इनफैक्ट पार्किंग लॉट भी नहीं था. वो बस सामने से कोई गाड़ी आ गई और वो पानी वाली जगह थी तो उन्होंने रोड साइड पे उतारी थी तो उनसे वापस आ नहीं रही थी. तो रिवर्स करना था उन्हें. तो वो भाईजान जाके उनको बार बार नॉक करें नहीं आप आए मैं निकाल देता हूँ आपसे नहीं निकलनी. मैंने उन्हें कहा कि देखें आप रिवर्स करें आपको मैं हेल्प करता हूँ आप खुद निकाल लेंगे. एंड आई हेल्प उस तरह निकालने में. लेकिन ये चीज़ है कि उसमें फिर वो थोड़ा मे बी शायद उनकी नीयत अच्छी होगी. मैं नहीं कह रहा कि उनकी नीयत इसमें वो हेल्प नहीं करना चाह रहे बट वो एक्स्ट्रा हो जाते थोड़े से. हाँ एग्जैक्टली like people don't know where should I stop.
The boundaries, they don't understand.
Boundaries का concept नहीं है हमारे.
Yeah, basically. That's what I've learned.
Did you feel this change when you eventually moved to Pakistan because शायद पहले visit करते ही हो but now when you moved ये cultural shock feel हुआ था?
We never actually visited in the middle. So when we So
So you were born in Toronto, stayed there for 11 years, and then no context of Pakistan, and then you suddenly are in Pakistan.
We were born here.
Mhm.
All of us were born here, and then we went when we were really young to Canada. So I was in like second year, third grade, and then everyone. My sister is like a year younger than me, and then a year older than me. You know what I mean? So then we spent a lot of time there. In the middle, we did not come to Pakistan, and then when we finally decided to move back, that's when we came. And the first year was interesting to say the least. So because like not even like an idea, right? Like you don't remember eighth you're a child, so you don't actually remember what.
So by my math, you were teenagers when you came back.
Essentially.
Acha, say.
Yeah, and then it's a very different lifestyle. We used to live in an apartment there, then you have to move to a house here, and then the whole I don't know.
So that's a good thing. वो तो एक अच्छी चीज़ है because now you live in a house and whatnot. तो वो तो,
but like my point is that like it was just very different. Like people were different and like what's acceptable.
Did you have a hard time adjusting to the?
Yeah. I remember I used to be like really dramatic about going to school because I hated going to school here. And like even though I hated uniforms, I don't know.
अच्छा ये मजे की चीज़ है uniforms का concept नहीं है North America वगैरह में.
In private schools, yes, but I went to a public school in North America. So we could just wear whatever, right? So when I came, I was like, is this? You know? I used to hold on to the railings, and my dad was like, please go to school. You know? Yeah.
That was the thing I remember.
I mean, उसमें एक अच्छी चीज़ भी है, you don't have to dress up every day, right? आपने बस एक uniform को press कर लें, पहन लेना, that's it, you're done.
I really liked that later on. I understood that concept much later, but that first year. Especially
जिस तरह high school वगैरह आप जाते हो ना, शायद हमारे यहाँ भी है, पर वहाँ मैंने जो note किया bullying का concept भी काफी है. So if you're not dressing up, if you're like in a state, people will make fun of you. They're just kids, right? They'll make fun of everything. So then some people get in this very toxic mindset that I have to look a certain way, I have to behave a certain way. अभी मेरी cousin रहती हैं UK में रहती हैं and her child is going through something similar and then he's having a really hard time adjusting क्योंकि मतलब once you become the target it's really hard to undo that right तो वो मतलब वो in a way I guess you can avoid it.
I mean yeah.
Not really मतलब लेकिन हाँ ये at least ये वाला जो aspect है ना कि you have to look a certain way रोज उसमें एफर्ट करना है वो नहीं करना.
You have to look a certain way, you have to talk a certain way. If you're so I mean obviously kids are kids, and then you have to if you come from abroad then you have to also experience a certain level of bullying from people.
Because you came from abroad?
No, because you speak differently or you might not be able to understand the language.
So you speak with an accent, so इसलिए.
Speak with an accent, some people might get uncomfortable with that, you know. Or they'll say something in Urdu, or उस time पे तो I didn't understand Urdu slang that much. I learned Urdu when I came to Pakistan.
अभी थोड़ी देर पहले मैंने सलीस उर्दू का you know what that meant, so I understand.
Yeah, but my point is I learned in the last couple of years, right? When I came here. If someone says something in slang and I didn't understand it back then.
Explain slang to me. उर्दू में क्या slang होंगे?
I don't know. Like,
कोई example आ रही थी मतलब जो लोग.
She might have an example.
Do you have an example? उर्दू slang मतलब I don't know. I guess शायद हमारे लिए colloquial एक normal चीज़ है. I'm not really realizing कि ये शायद slang है. It's not like a real.
I don't know. Maybe I'm using the slang is the wrong terminology, but.
No, I honestly agree with you there. Like some of the hardest things to get used to in this country, especially, was slang. It was like it was very hard to understand what the next person was saying solely because there was such a mix of like different jokes and then the different way of speaking that you would always just
you wouldn't get the intent.
You wouldn't get the intent, and oftentimes you would end up. I was personally that kid who would end up kind of offended because I just didn't understand the context of it. So
you took it at face value and you
got offended. But I realized later on it was like okay, that's what it is. But as compared to Samara, I personally had a really hard time like adjusting into it took me like 5 years.
Achha.
It took me a very long time. And
और उसकी क्या वजह थी उसकी?
I think I really just blocked off socializing. My sisters were very good at socializing. She was highly social even back in Canada. And the youngest was highly
What
social.
changed afterwards?
Listen,
I'm not social now.
yeah, I think she's had her fill, and now I'm taking it all
You're
in
the
now.
social one now. Acha khair. So you weren't the social one.
Yeah, so definitely over here, it was more on the idea that it was very hard to relate to people, and I was very much still in that shell shock or culture shock, and everything. I started to like not go outside. It was just school and home, school and home, school and home.
Say.
So I refused to like go outside because it was too difficult and very different for me. Solely because I think the younger ones had a generally harder time because we really didn't have that like idea or like understanding of how things were different here and the level.
How old were you जब आप पाकिस्तान आई थी?
I think I was like 13, 14. That wasn't that bad.
You were relatively very young. So,
Yeah.
Right. And that I think that is an age when kids start to get rebellious. So if you're the odd one out in class or whatnot, you'll get made fun of.
Yeah.
And that also might put you off from socializing.
I think it's mostly on the end that I was a little bit of a strange little kid. Mostly because.
Were you the goth kid in class?
No. Actually,
yeah.
For her, yeah, she was definitely the goth
No, I was
kid.
not. I wasn't.
Yeah. Do you remember the emo phase?
I had emo.
Oh yes, I remember it very, very, very.
So listen to like intense music.
Right.
Like,
did you guys?
heavy eyeliner.
I remember लड़कों ने hairstyle बनाए होते थे. They used to have a whole thing here in front.
The flippy hair.
Yeah.
The flippy.
लेकिन
the
ऊपर
Bieber
पीछे spikes होता था, and I think Bieber was fine. I'm talking about like pure emo. It was all gelled up here और आगे यूं करके होता था.
That was like 90s.
Flicks?
You're talking like 90s.
नहीं अभी था यार, ये 2000s में भी था.
It was like the Paramore era.
Maybe.
I guess हमारे यहाँ वो थोड़ा late आया.
Yeah, it came very late, and it was very like much mixed up with like a lot of the
Desi culture भी आ गया.
Yeah, like with some oil and ghee.
Oh my god, yeah, imagine.
घी लगा के.
Oh my god, it was really.
नहीं, oil लगाना तो बड़ी common बात है. मुझे याद है बड़े फखर से लोग तेल लगा के मांग निकाल के आते थे. It was a common thing.
Over there, that wouldn't fly. That wouldn't fly.
If over there, if your hair even looks moderately greasy in Canada,
Kids will
or
make fun of you.
if you smell slightly different, people will be like, "Why do you smell? Why does your hair look like that?" You know.
I mean, Abhi, you guys didn't spend that time of when bullying actually starts there in Canada, but did you ever felt कि people looked at you different, or yeah, वहाँ पे culturally mix इतना है कि people are just used to seeing brown people, and
I think it's very much on the idea that because we lived in such a diverse community, it was a crock pot essentially. So it was like you were around people, you grew up with these people. So it was on the end that it was never about, oh, they look different, because everyone was different.
And everyone knew each other.
And everyone was tolerant with each other, and the reality of the matter was...
So it was like a community school. And,
because we were taught at a very young age to be very tolerant of people, and that at the same time we were taught to really be accepting of other people's cultures. And whatever that may be, to the point that I remember we used to even celebrate like different holidays like Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Christmas, all those things. And people had no problem with it. They were very open-armed, and they were like ready to understand and be willing to
celebrate.
Go ahead.
No, celebrate in the sense that like, there'd be events at school, so then you would like, take.
I know. I see what you mean. There's not the religious context to it. You're just having an event. And celebrating with the people who are celebrating.
Neighbors will send food across, and it would be like a sweet little thing. It's just a better understanding about other people's culture, not exactly the
I
same.
think जब आप you live in a tight-knit community और पाकिस्तान में you've been brought up here, आपको लगेगा कि you're not supposed to. Right? For example, Christmas is this one example. मतलब इसमें हम इतना dive in नहीं करते हैं, लेकिन क्योंकि everybody has their own beliefs and whatnot. लेकिन people generally don't like to do those things here, because I guess एक तो यहाँ पे culturally it's not a normalized thing. शायद Christmas हो क्योंकि we have a good amount of Christian community, लेकिन people don't like to celebrate with them.
But I think it's a very important factor that people should really learn to do, because it really does encourage being tolerant and understanding of other people. It is not essentially on the end that you have to sit there and be like, okay, they're asserting their culture, they're asserting their
Yeah, it's not about asserting वो आप पे कोई values अपनी थोप नहीं रहे
No,
आप उनको accept नहीं कर रहे it's just you're celebrating an event.
You're celebrating their event. You're being part of someone's joy. It brings people closer if you're and avoids segregation. I feel like if you're able to be there and just generally take part in people's just joyful events.
Yeah.
If you're a part of people's birthdays, if you're part of people's weddings and all of that, so then what's wrong with
बिल्कुल absolutely मुझे तो इसमें क्वेश्चन नहीं लगता I think आप ये मेरा पर्सनल बिलीफ है कि you should you know if you want to celebrate with someone in their happiness be a part of it.
Yeah,
it's fine.
definitely.
अच्छा खैर अभी वापस आते हैं उस वाली you know perspective shift वाली बात पे so now growing up here you've started working you've interacted with people you've started doing that too so
She's so social. She's friends with everyone now.
no I know does it feel weird that if almost everyone just wants to run away from the country or you're like yeah I get it
so I kind of get in the sense that like I understand where people are coming from I understand their mindset it is definitely a difficult time let's just say
economically so we are in a downfall
right? Yeah economically we're in a downfall there's not a lot of job opportunities for people our age right because I think obviously people are getting laid off because again economically we're in a thing because I think jobs create there's not a lot of like jobs or like startups or whatever you want to call it that you would want to work at also right you know what I mean like I would personally want to work at a company that has a very specific kind of culture like a specific kind of mindset
right.
I don't really see that level of professionalism here. You know, I've worked at a lot of Pakistani firms now, and some of them have been amazing, and others have been a complete nightmare. You know, like just complete like lack of decorum, like not understanding like basic things like compensation. Sometimes like you don't get paid on time, like
there's that holidays.
Yeah. Just random stuff that you know you would think was just like a basic right. Contracts don't really matter here for some reason. Yeah. Like you would sign a contract, but like.
Yeah.
No, I see what you're saying. ये है issue. Pakistani, especially जो managed companies हैं, Pakistani based companies, and there's a lot of issues with those companies. लेकिन I know it sounds like I'm coming from a privileged position because I'm in a place where I am working and I'm able to pay the bills, right? And I'm sure there's a lot of people who aren't, so they have a different perspective. लेकिन मेरा ये मानना है कि बिल्कुल ही गिव अप कर देना कि यार कुछ नहीं हो सकता और you know it's like putting all your eggs in one basket और आप कह रहे हो कि मैं कनाडा जा रहा हूँ for example बहुत हमारी आवाम कनाडा भाग रही है क्योंकि I think नॉर्थ अमेरिका में preferable वो जगह है it's easier to get the residence and whatnot तो बहुत लोग what if you're not able to make it there क्योंकि देखो वहाँ पे रहने के भी बहुत सारे pros and cons हैं जो हम बात करेंगे लेकिन आप क्या मतलब अगर आप सेटल ना हो सके वहाँ पे आपको वो जॉब नहीं मिल सकी आपका वीजा नहीं लग सका या व्हाटएवर तो will you just be depressed all your life?
In my personal opinion, you're right. You shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. If you genuinely feel that going abroad is the best path for you and you genuinely see yourself succeeding, but you have a plan, plan is like you need to have like a whole like thing like how am I going to do this? What do I need? What certifications do I need? How I'm going to be able to succeed in this venture that I'm like setting out for. If you don't have that and you're just going, that's like you're setting yourself up.
और मेरे लिए बस mansion तैयार है.
Exactly. Like a lot of people do that. They'll get the visa and they'll be like, we're gonna find a job and वहाँ पे जब जाएंगे.
And it's very true. There's a lot of people who do that who don't really have any finances in terms of you know supporting themselves until they do. जब तक job मिलती है तब तक support नहीं कर पाएंगे. मतलब अब देखो हम बात करते हैं a lot of people go for express entry जो थी और वो रिमोट एरियाज में कनाडा के उनको प्लेस करती है गवर्नमेंट जहाँ पे आबादी कम है पॉपुलेशन कम है एंड आई नो यू गाइस कैन टेल मोर अबाउट what it's actually like living there क्योंकि वो living conditions are very harsh
very different
right so what is that like अभी जो लोग नहीं जानते
I think one thing to remember now is especially compared to when we were there and how it is now I think generally I'm going to say this with the question earlier on with Summer as well. Generally, time has progressed so much and things have shifted. Concerns have shifted after COVID. Generally, the country itself is in a different state of affairs, both here and over there. So essentially, yes, we have better immigration policies over there right now that welcome a lot of immigrants, and that's what the backbone of Canada is.
Immigrants.
Yeah.
Say.
But the issue there is, and this is one of the things that a lot of people are having concerns with, the immigrants who stay there longer than a year, they feel the concern of the lack of health care. Even though it is universal healthcare, right?
So go into that a little bit. A lot of people think, yeah, universal healthcare, I don't have to pay for anything.
No.
Yeah, explain that.
Okay, so basically, when it comes to healthcare, you pay through your taxes, and taxes over there are very high,
extremely high,
very high. When you think of that in mind, right? Yes, you're not paying for much, but you're paying through your taxes, and that too for a system that is very backed up currently. Ever since COVID happened, a lot of people are suffering. And as far as I know, I've read up on, Doug Ford had recently said that they were actually planning to move a lot of their procedures to private hospitals solely because they were so backed up.
Yeah.
But then alongside that, there were concerns that, the healthcare professionals were not being paid on time. Essentially, like, compensation wasn't there. There was a lot of issues like that. And it's not just on the healthcare end. It's not just on the healthcare front. It is on multiple areas like policing or education in general. Right. A lot of the concern has come ever since after COVID, right? Because that's where the system kind of shook up.
Right. Yeah, so there's a strain on like healthcare, right?
And generally, like, one of those things that, the dream that you're essentially sold when you think, oh, you're gonna end up in Canada, and and this is generally because a lot of my own personal friends over here have moved abroad, and the smart move would be, if you're going, already have a job in place for you, because otherwise going there and expecting there to be jobs available when generally a lot of people are struggling right now to find jobs. When there's a recession worldwide, it would be very stupid to just end up being like, hey, let's go there and find out. Right. You can't expect over there to be given everything on a platter.
You have to work for everything.
Education systems, yes, it's free, but at the same time you have to you have to understand that there are drawbacks to everything. Yes, education is there, healthcare is there, but it comes at a cost. You won't have it readily accessible. I know a lot of people who are currently waiting on like a 2-month wait list just for an MRI and a CT scan.
अच्छा ये चीज़ है जो मैं पहले भी I wanted to pause you to talk about. A lot of people don't know this. हमारे यहाँ तो ये है कि you just go to a hospital, right? You walk up to a hospital, you get an appointment. आपको शायद उसी टाइम मिल जाएगी या शाम में मिल जाएगी, and you'll see a doctor.
Yeah.
That is not how it works.
No.
Right? And it's not just North America. I believe it's the same in Europe. It's the same in the UK and whatnot.
Yeah.
आपको appointment देना पड़ेगा, which will be months away.
Yeah.
And then they'll try to sort and blah blah. So how does that work?
So again, this is one of the things in Pakistan that I slowly saw. Like, you would just go to a place and they would just get it done for you right then and there. Like these big like MRIs or whatever. There you would have to book an appointment. It's a whole procedure, and then they have to okay you, and then you get the MRI done. You know what I mean?
Which is months, महीने लग
जाएंगे. Not months. When I had to get that done, it was a couple of weeks. Now I know, because the healthcare system, she's right, is extremely backed up. It can take a very long time just to get like a simple appointment, just like a normal appointment, just for like a flu or a cold, for example. Right. And they won't even see you physically. Like, they will call you on the phone now. And then I don't know if this is like province-wide or countrywide or just like a province thing, but you just have your appointments on the phone or on Zoom or something like that, and that's kind of how you gotta do what you gotta do. And then antibiotics are not a big thing in North America. Like, you can just go to the pharmacy and get like whatever medication.
But I've recently heard that that's an issue, because it's generally winter times and people are struggling with virals and all of that. I was just speaking to a friend of mine back home over there, and they were telling me that there is generally a struggle getting painkillers and antibiotics and all of that, even over the counter and all of those things. It's because, again, the backlog, and then at the same time, it's because, you have to remember, one thing I have to make clear: children get free healthcare.
So
Senior citizens get free healthcare.
Mhm.
Yes, people our age, we are able to have access to healthcare, but your insurance policy pays for your, like, how much you're covered, right? But you pay for your own medicines. You
Okay.
pay for you have to remember those things.
And they're very expensive.
They're
medication.
very expensive, and they're not really available readily. And again, like Samra had said earlier, right? When it comes to appointments and all of that,
I know their medicine is expensive, but I think it's much better than the US.
Yeah, in the US it's not available
right?
readily.
US में और भी मतलब
Yeah.
और उनकी healthcare के और बड़े फसाद हैं. I know जो a person who lives pretty near to the border, so they live in New York State, which is
Boston.
Huh?
Boston.
I'm not sure. But it's like an hour drive
Yeah.
to what's that waterfall?
Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
Somewhere around that area. So जब भी उन्हें medication लेना होता है, they drive up to
Yeah.
Canada
Yeah.
and then they get
Across the
medication
border,
from
yeah.
across
They
the
come
border.
to Canada for medication. We go over there for Costco.
There you go.
Yeah.
आपके पास नहीं है वो कोई वहाँ पे Costco type की chain?
There is a
There's a
there.
Costco.
Yeah.
But is it not nice?
But like there's more variety in like America,
Ah.
and it's a lot cheaper as compared to Canada. Currently, groceries over there are
Really
so
expensive.
expensive. It's
Mhm.
ridiculous. People are like, this is just basic. This is like
Right.
flour and rice, and it's insanely expensive. Again, one of the things that we were discussing was
Is it because of the whole trucking issue जो हुआ था and because अभी सर्दियों में it gets very challenging to get goods across the country, right? So is that a part?
I'm not sure. I don't actually understand why it's so expensive. I think it might be a tax thing, but don't quote me.
Yeah.
Don't quote me, guys. But
imports. And
I
all
think
that.
they might
Somewhere
have
ending up
increased
in
the taxes,
headlines
yeah.
everywhere. Junk, the news.
No, there's generally a lot of different factors. Again, Canada is not a cheap place to live anymore, right?
Yeah.
Forget the healthcare, but housing is
think
ridiculous.
Actually, no, housing has recently.
down
I know it
recently.
did go down recently.
मैं ये नहीं कहूँगा कि ठीक है, that's a fair argument, but I wouldn't say Islamabad is a cheap place to
It's
live in.
not.
It's not.
I don't
It's
think
not.
people understand that.
Islamabad is
देखो,
very
it's like
expensive to
purchasing
live in.
power parity. अगर आप देखें ना, for example, तो Islamabad में whatever आपकी जो monthly income है, yes,
Yeah.
it might be a lot less compared to dollars, but you're still. So you don't have a lot of disposable income here because हमारी
That's very
inflation
true.
इस तरह ऊपर जा रही है.
बिल्कुल.
Exactly. So
ये सबसे बड़ा इशू आई थिंक पाकिस्तान का जनरली के डिस्पोजेबल इनकम आपकी जो पर कैपिटा हाउसहोल्ड इनकम है जमीन आसमान में फर्क है लाइक यू कांट इवन कंपेयर इट टू द अमेरिकास बिकॉज़ आपके पास वहाँ पे इतनी डिस्पोजेबल इनकम जरूर होती है कि आप इवन वेकेशंस वगैरह कर सकते हैं आप डिफरेंट चीजें खरीद सकते हैं फॉर द हाउसहोल्ड यहाँ पे नौकरी पेशा लोग बेयरली बिल्स पे करेंगे एंड देन दे विल बी वेटिंग फॉर द नेक्स्ट चेक.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely coming back to your question, right? That is one of the biggest reasons why a lot of youngsters are leaving. It's because there's no longer a value in the rupee, right? The dollars, if you're earning dollars, then you're getting somewhere, right? You're able to pay bills, and yes, over there, that's one of the issues as well. You are being paid according to the value there, but then you're paying for according to that. Well, that's coming back here, right? Then you're making a decent living, right? At the same time, you have to also remember, like, all those factors are there. Like, we're sitting here and, like Summer said earlier, females. Like, if I was looking at myself, a better opportunity for me would definitely be going abroad.
Yeah.
Solely because there's
Gender pay gap.
There's also a gender pay gap issue over there, but that's being addressed, right? There is a conversation around it. Over here, it's no questions asked. People don't understand, like, it doesn't get to people's heads that women could be the sole breadwinners of their households. There isn't an understanding that those factors are there.
I think अभी थोड़ा बहुत change हो रहा है, लेकिन it's definitely not across the board. But my sister, she's also making a good living and she's working and she's thriving, right? And I see a lot of women doing that.
I feel like that's happening in urban areas though.
Yeah, it's very niche at the moment. It's not a ये हर जगह adopted नहीं है ये thought
Yeah.
process, but I think change हो रहा है. Hold on. Yeah. So let's start again. Yeah, why not?
So apparently, like my mom was recently telling me about how like when before you go to bed, my mom and my father, they were having a debate on this, like before you go to bed you have to take off your socks, and I was like, I've never done that.
I do that. I do that.
Apparently there's like health benefits to this, and then religiously it's something.
I have no idea about the religious aspect of it. लेकिन ये है कि if I sleep with the socks on, because sometimes you're tired and you forget. So I wake up in the middle of the night and
This
I'm like
happens to me.
sweating and I'm I don't know. I wouldn't call it hyperventilating, but it's like a very
Like a nauseous bun feeling.
yeah,
I get it,
exactly.
Okay, for me that's not a thing, but honestly I've noticed I tend to like take off my socks like in the middle of the night for no reason.
नहीं, see, I think वो यही होगा कि your body is feeling the same
But
thing.
I don't recall this happening because in the next morning I'll find my socks in the bed in random places. What's happened?
I lose my socks all like.
You do that because your body wants them off of you.
Yeah.
That's like a natural वो जो survival
So maybe there is some health related.
There could be. I don't know. I mean, some people sleep with their socks on and they're fine.
They're crazy.
No,
They're crazy.
They're weird.
No, I don't get it though. They're like, I don't get why you would do that because like
Take them off?
in the middle it's freezing cold and
No,
generally.
but a lot of people feel really uncomfortable when their feet are warm. I am one of those people.
That's you, but like for me, I generally like if my feet are cold, I am cold no matter how.
Agreed. But the thing you've taken on, whatever it is,
The blanket.
whether it's a blanket or whatever, it's eventually going to get warmer because of your own bodily heat, right? So here you don't need socks and whatnot. That's the whole purpose of having a blanket on.
Yeah, honestly, it doesn't work for me.
So you need to wear. You're one of those people who
wears socks.
Who
She wears socks, then she wears a
yeah.
sweater, then she wears a blanket, then she wears another blanket, then she wears a third blanket, and then she wears a sleep.
Listen, don't make me sound like I have like.
When she sleeps, she's in like this little fetal position where she's trying to conserve all the warmth.
Yeah, that's actually true. That part is true.
Yeah.
I go into fetal position.
Oh, okay.
And then, you know what's really funny?
Does that help?
It does, and I hate breaking this on the internet, but
No,
like
it's fine.
my cats come and like they'll cuddle up.
She uses
and
cats for warmth.
I use cats for
Oh.
like Summer when she was still living with us.
Are your blankets not warm enough? What is happening here? Because usually 5 minutes in and it's all good. You're cozy.
It's the blood pressure low.
Yeah. Okay. So all of disclaimer, like all of us girls, I don't know about Summer, but we all suffer from like low blood pressure, and generally we're always freezing. And
okay.
like the cats.
That's not me. I'm fine. I'm excluded from this.
Yeah.
Right.
We just generally, I'm always cold.
Right.
Like if people feel my hands, they'll be like,
Say you're one of those.
yeah, I'm one of those.
I think what you need is more body fat. I'll tell you from experience. Okay, there was a
Everyone
point.
says the same thing.
True, it helps. It does help because there was a point when I lost a bunch of weight and sure, looked good and I felt honestly मुझे उससे ज़्यादा बुरी feeling जिंदगी में कभी नहीं आई. Because I was hungry all the time. ठीक है, हर वक्त भूख लगी होती थी.
Didn't your stomach contract?
It did, but I guess वो एक psychological aspect भी होता है उसका ना, that you need to eat. I don't know, your body, you're basically in a starving position जब आप अपनी abs वगैरह देख सकते हो ना, तो आप अपनी normal state में नहीं हो. That's not how you're supposed to be. ठीक है, तो आप एक starving state में हो, तो you're always in that hungry mindset ना कि आपको गुस्सा आ रहा है because you're hungry. ठीक है, और उसके अलावा आपको ठंड बहुत लगेगी. ठीक है, because body fat actually does help regulate heat around your body.
I remember there was a study on this. People who suffer from like eating disorders and who are exceptionally skinny, they end up growing a lot more hair because that's their body's defense mechanism to keep themselves warm. So
ये है, there's definitely truth to that, I think, क्योंकि I don't think वो एक आपकी natural state है और उसमें आपको होना चाहिए, थोड़ा body fat is fine. You don't need to look like a model all the time. Some people जो लोग कोशिश कर रहे होते हैं ना हर वक्त
I don't think some people try to do that. They're just generally like they
maybe a
can't.
lot of people put in effort to look a certain way. और I'm fighting against that argument कि you don't need to do that. I think sure, being healthy, working out to maintain health or for longevity and whatnot, वो सब अच्छा है.
Mhm.
I get that. Eating healthy food and not avoiding processed वगैरह वो भी सही है. लेकिन बस अपने दिमाग में अगेन एक चीज, वो जिस तरह हम पहले कनाडा भागने वाली है, बाहर भागने वाली बात कर रहे थे, एक चीज के ऊपर बैठ जाना कि मैंने ये करना ही करना है ना, वो एक बहुत अनहेल्दी माइंडसेट है. बिकॉज अनअचीवेबल गोल्स वाली बात है.
I mean, okay. Is it unachievable? Isn't determination technically a
देखो,
good thing?
अचीव आप कर लोगे, बट द फैक्ट इज यू कांट मेंटेन दैट.
Yeah,
I
I'm not
wasn't able to
talking.
maintain it. A lot of people can't, and then they get depressed because then they see themselves not a certain way, and they're like,
But I wasn't talking about like body.
Huh.
Am I getting it? Like, isn't determination technically supposed to be a good thing?
dangling carrot वाली जो चीज़ है ना,
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with that. I think हम human beings, we need motivation for everything. ठीक है, there's that. But just fixating on one result is what I'm against.
Some people would call that manifesting.
But that's true.
It's a slippery slope, ऐसे समझना, because if you're trying, let's say you're
I'm
trying.
interviewing you. I don't know
I
any
get
of
it,
this.
I get it. But बहुत सारे लोगों का ये opinion होगा. So I think it's a slippery slope, because what if that doesn't happen? Then you're just stuck in that weird mindset that, oh, I did everything. I gave 1,000%. I cut this out, I cut that out, but I wasn't able to achieve it.
But dealing with failure is also
Then
like
you won't
a
be
healthy
able to
thing.
deal with it. Not a lot of people would be able to deal with it, क्योंकि हर किसी का mindset या mental aptitude same नहीं है.
I get that, but experiencing failure and then overcoming it is what gives you that mindset.
देखो, setbacks को face करना बहुत ज़रूरी है ज़िंदगी में, लेकिन हर कोई उनके ऊपर they can't get over them. ठीक है, lot of people get stuck in that one thing कि मैं ये क्यों नहीं achieve कर सकता या कर सकी.
But the people that can overcome this, there are some like really amazing people out there. Who
And
can
I think what they
overcome this
learned
and
after overcoming it is they didn't need to fixate on it.
Yeah.
Because it didn't matter as much as they thought it did. Right? So I
it
think
helps you get to a thought.
I think it's mostly on the end, where you should be creating achievable goals, right? And those achievable goals should lead towards a main vision or a mission, right? So like your achievable goals will eventually get you to that point. But simply thinking to yourself that you are gonna jump into that space is like very unhealthy, because then you have an expectation, and that expectation is very likely to break down.
Yeah, you need to set yourself up for success, right? Like for example, if you want that job, you need to make yourself, you need to get all the right stuff in place, credentials, the mindset, everything in place, so you can actually be in the best position to be able to achieve that goal that you have set out. If you're not in the best position, you're up.
No, I think there's merit to that argument for sure. But मेरा point ये था कि when you're doing all of this, just be open to failure. Be open to plan B, plan C.
And be open to the journey of it. Be open to the journey of it, because oftentimes what I've learned is, unless you are expecting or someone has just handed you something and you haven't really worked for it, or you haven't gone through those milestones, when you get to that point, you fall really fast.
Also, you get imposter syndrome.
Yeah. You basically you get to that point and you're building yourself up, right? When you're building yourself up, you are basically training your mind, your body, you're just
this
generally.
Is when I'll be happy.
Yeah, but almost like you're able to do that when you get to that point. You don't think that you have imposter syndrome. You are able to handle that thing generally very well, right?
No, my point when I say imposter syndrome is like, if for example, if you're just constantly, like as she was saying, if you're constantly just thinking, I'm just gonna get this one thing and you're fixating on it, and
you get
it. But you don't have any kind of credentials, you don't know how you got there, whatever, then you get imposter syndrome. You're like, was I even
But then you don't know what you're doing
here?
either.
Exactly, hence the imposter syndrome.
I think उसके बाद this also might set in what's next. What the hell do I do now? Let's say you dreamed something big, right? You wanted stardom, you wanted to be an actor. Suddenly you get this massive movie, you're an actor. You're like, now what? I did it. You know वो जो एक lonely at the top वाली बात है ना? There's a lot of people suffering from it. They're like, I don't have a motivation in life now.
And we're always striving for something, the next best thing.
But let's say you have all. I'll give you a scenario right now, right? And a hypothetical. And I know everybody to a certain degree needs money. Okay?
Yeah.
Money is basically how is
We
more
survive.
unit of life, right? You need it to have a good life. Let's say you get I don't know a ridiculous amount of money, $1 trillion or whatever. Now what?
So I think that's a bad gauge. If you're generally making you're basing your goals around making money, then that's almost very self-harm or at one point. Because yes, money will come in your life. This is my general belief. Money will come to your life. What you should make a goal of is pursuing your passions. And you have to also remember,
First of all, having passions,
but
not just finding ways to make money and then you're like,
Yeah.
oh my
But
God,
at the same time, remembering, I think this is because I've had a lot of great examples around me, both through my friends and my family members. A lot of people have pursued different professions. When they're done with something, when they've achieved something,
Right.
they don't limit themselves to, hey, if I'm a lawyer, I'm just meant to be a lawyer.
Right.
Or if I'm a businessman, I'm just meant to be a businessman. I can be a pilot too. I can do this and that as well. So creating goals and creating ideas that I want to pursue this. I think that's generally the pursuit of happiness in life.
I think इसका just ये है कि आपके जो goals हैं, they need to be realistic.
Realistic.
If you're basing them off of, oh, I need a bigger house, और मुझे पैसे चाहिए, या कोई मतलब आप इस तरह की एक materialistic सी एक चीज रख रहे हैं, approach रख रहे हैं, तो वो strive that उसका जो मजा है या वो जो satisfaction that will run out very fast.
Yeah.
And then you would be left stranded कि यार, okay, now what? What's next?
Exactly.
Can I add to this?
Yeah, of course.
Basically, in my
That's the
opinion,
podcast.
yeah. Basically, my opinion on this is, you can have lots of, for example, the whole $1 trillion or whatever you were saying,
Yeah.
If you have a goal, if you have a passion, passion, and it makes you money, that's great. If it makes you $1 trillion, that's great. But if you were following your passions while, your interests, your passions, while you made that money, at least you're at least doing something that you want, right?
Of course, bilkul.
Some people just get the money.
Yeah.
And that's when it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
When they just have the money or
like she said, right? Money is not a good motivation.
Yeah.
इस case में motivation थी passion. Okay, let's say your case, right? You like painting, so you're like, I want to paint. If those paintings sell for a good amount of money, that's just the byproduct. I just want to paint, right? So every time you make a painting, you'll be like, okay, I want to make another painting, and then that would be your motivation. It wouldn't be I need to sell it for X amount of money.
Yeah, but for a lot of people, money is also
a very big incentive.
A lot of people, especially people that just didn't have money growing up.
I know. Yeah.
You really, especially at that point, you really understand the value of money. People that had money, they don't understand
Very true.
What they actually have.
But
it's the people that work really hard.
एक और मसला ये भी है कि then you make it out to be something that it's not.
Like
You expect कि पैसे या money will solve all of your problems.
No, of course not. Money will never solve all your problems. Your problems are extremely complex. Human people are extremely complex.
You will continuously have problems.
You will always have problems.
Yeah.
Money is something that I genuinely believe is a really you have multiple problems. Let's say all these problems are little spheres, right? Money is going to be a really large circle, and it's something that consumes a lot of people. All these other problems are there, but it's not. I'm not saying money is going to solve these problems. But it's just going to be one less thing that you need to worry about.
I think इन दो चीजों को mix करना ही नहीं चाहिए. I think money, what it can do, and what it's done for a lot of people is it can give you better life. It can give you a better standard of life. Okay, you can have better products, you can have better things, and बहुत सारे लोगों को वो चाहिए. But that's it. It can open those doors, where do not expect कि once you're rich.
But
it's a very
number one, not everyone is going to become rich. You get it?
Sure. But then that's the dangling carrot.
Yeah.
That is why everyone goes to work here, because that is why they follow people like Andrew Tate online, because they want to learn. They want to learn tricks to make money, a good amount of money. Actually, not a good amount, a ridiculous amount of money, right?
So those are that's a completely different goal. My point is this: if other money is not a problem for you anymore, and you have all these other problems, in my from what I've seen, money can be like a ginormous problem for people. All other
just having
problems,
money problems.
Just having money problems. Obviously, so it's a thing
Same
about
baat.
survival. Do you get it? Like if you don't have food to eat, if
Yeah.
you don't
It's
have
a basic unit of life, right? आपको
Exactly.
ये तो चाहिए ही चाहिए. ये
So,
पहला brick है.
if you put that, for example, if money is now not a problem for you, and all these other just say we छोटे and whatever, it's fine. At least
Problems होंगे हमेशा से.
problems don't get, but
Yeah.
at least you won't have to worry about
Right.
feeding your children or like
Right. I know what you're
like
saying.
taking care of
I
your
know what you're
parents.
saying.
Because that is something that can completely destroy you.
Yeah.
It makes you feel completely
मेरा
powerless.
अभी जो point of view perspective life पे है, maybe it's changed over the years, but what I've come to realize is what's important is the now.
Yeah.
Spending time with the loved ones, your family,
Mm-hmm.
because you never really know when the good old days have passed,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right? तो जब हम इस तरह जीते हैं ना कि एक टांग हमारी पास में एक फ्यूचर में, then you're not, living in the present. You're not enjoying this. लोग कहते हैं जी मेरा एक घर होगा उसके लॉन में बैठ के चाय पीऊंगा. Just make chai and have it right now.
Life's
Right?
very fast paced, especially now.
Yeah.
Like as compared to when our parents used to say, वक्त बहुत आराम से गुजरता था. Of now, everything's like
very fast.
you cannot tell because I still think I'm in 2021 and now it's 2023.
It
I
is.
still
It's
think I'm in
ridiculous.
2019, guys.
Yes, essentially, it's like you're like where's the time going?
Not able to
Fully grasp
Yeah,
exactly
because
where you're at, and
you
that's
can.
exactly the point right now that what I'm understanding is, it's very stupid in my, at least for me, to mentally solely invest in the idea that I can make money. I think it would be better to invest your mindset on pursuing passions that will eventually lead you to that point, right? Those things will lead. Look, I'll paint, right? And I can sell my painting or I can do some commission work, but at least I'm doing something
that you love.
that I love, right? And at the same time, if money was something that ensured your happiness, then we would be seeing a lot of people happy and alive right now.
बिल्कुल, absolutely. I think just to complete that thought, मेरे लिए what's important is just making enough, doing enough effort to make enough so that my bills are covered.
Yeah,
and I'm able to put food on the table. I think comfort comes with your expectations.
True.
Okay, if you're expecting to sleep in a lavish house and unless you get that you're not comfortable, then you'll never be comfortable. If you're comfortable just as things are, then you'll be comfortable. It's down to your perspective on life. तो मेरे लिए ये है कि just put in as much amount of effort कि I'm not having to sacrifice the ones I'm doing it for.
True.
My family, right?
Or your morals or your values or anything
बिल्कुल.
like that.
Like a lot of people will just work overtime and वो कहेंगे कि हम अपने बच्चों के लिए कर रहे हैं. But क्या होगा ना कि वो उस pursuit में वो अपने बच्चों के साथ बिल्कुल उनका टाइम नहीं स्पेंड करेंगे.
There's a
अपनी
deficit
family के
elsewhere.
साथ नहीं करेंगे. हाँ. तो क्या होगा कि they'll never be able to have that connection, that bond in later years. तो I think what's important is आप इतना काम करें और काम में इतनी effort करें कि you're able to just earn enough to put food on the table. You don't have to worry about that. Your bills are paid. आपके सर पे एक छत है. I think that's more than I'm
what most
content
people
with that.
want. I feel like I want that. She wants that. That's literally what most people
like
want.
that's I think again, our parents have done a really good job with teaching us that it's important to more than generally having money, right? It's about the people around you, and your mental health. Nowadays, it's mostly like there should be a narrative that your mental health should be first and foremost.
And that comes with happiness. That comes with being content in what you have and not having that.
But at the same time, I feel like it's also on the end that you are making money and you're trying to pay the bills and you're doing that for your family or your loved ones or yourself, right? But if the deficit there is if you have a really bad mental health, that also comes out on your family. That also comes out in different ends. And that's where the family suffers more.
And again, to your point, like if you're doing it for your family, but you're not able to spend time with them,
then what's
if you're just throwing money at them, then there's no point to it.
And you feel really, and towards people who are like a lot older now, who just pursued making money, they have a very hard time, like connecting with their, they don't, like children don't visit their parents.
I think this was a common thing with our parents' generation. A lot of people, a lot of dads were, because उस time पे कुछ ये माहौल था कि most moms were household wives, they weren't working wives, and then the dads were working. So they've always been in that mindset, and they've always been wanting to make more properties, invest in more buildings, invest God knows what. But for no will, to no will, right? They'll never have that bond with their children, their families, or they'll always be looked at. Oh, Baba, re, ban karo TV, ban karo ye wo, right? That was my childhood, right? Because you're not आपके जो वो वालिद हैं या वो आपकी कई केसेस में माँ हैं वो एक बस एक जलाद टाइप के कैरेक्टर हैं जिनके आगे आप बोल नहीं सकते जिनके साथ आप कनेक्ट करके हार्ट टू हार्ट नहीं कर सकते आप बात नहीं कर सकते. You just have to show them your report card, straight A's. If there's not straight A's, you'll get beaten.
Yeah.
Right? So ये चीज जो है ना ये I think
not
is
even
going
beaten,
away now.
Annihilated. The end.
Right.
But I think that's the funny thing. When we were younger, this was also true for us. But as we got older, our parents also realized that this is not because they've experienced it themselves. To be honest, this is where we forget our parents are also growing up with us.
Yeah.
Right? And that is the reality that they've also realized it's more about having those connections. It's about having something to sit with. You know, now
someone to sit with.
Yeah, someone to sit with.
You need that.
And honestly, when I think about it now, whenever I speak with my dad, I remember there used to be a time when we used to just sit there for the sake of like, don't say anything stupid. He'll get angry or
Exactly.
like.
Okay, I never had that relationship with my dad. I would just say the dumbest thing.
Yeah, but that was she generally. She
But
was
they
so
were typical.
nonchalant
अगर
about it.
आप overall scale की बात करो ना, this is how dads were, and
Yeah.
you couldn't really connect.
But that
with
was
them.
when we were younger. I'm
Yeah,
talking like
we're
really
talking
young.
recently. Like,
Of course. Things have changed now, and I think this is happening for the
across
good.
the board. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the good, for sure. क्योंकि अभी मैं देखता हूँ कि जो मेरी जनरेशन के लोग हैं जो काम कर रहे हैं who recently gotten married or whatnot and they're trying to spend time with their family, just trying to spend time with their wives, their children, or
So those are your tethers. Those are the people who keep you grounded,
keep you whole.
and again, they're the reason why you're doing it all.
Yeah.
So if you're not able to, invest in them, then there's no point of doing it.
You know, funny you mentioned that. And it was this epiphany almost came. I was working in a place and I wasn't happy. Like I've worked in Pakistan corporate.
I remember this.
It was very turbulent. But I remember the biggest person whose words really stuck with me about. I was solely in there to I wanted to start making a living. I wanted to be able to sustain myself and be a little bit more independent like I used to be. And my dad talked me out of it. He's like, listen, no job, no matter how well it pays, is worth you having to break down your mental sanity, pursue long hours. You are a young girl and you have such a future ahead of you. And I remember I broke down that day inside the car and my dad was like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Right.
It wasn't just one day. He would see how miserable I was at that corporate and he would be like, listen, it doesn't matter. Money is something that comes and goes. You need to pursue something that's very good for you, right? Well, that will make you happy. And he's learned this lesson himself because he's also
again, your parents are growing with us, right?
Yeah,
so he makes sure, and this is something I'm very thankful for. Both our parents are like this, and they really instilled inside of us that don't pursue something on the basis that it'll pay your bills.
Right.
Pursue something that you will be happy with and you will stick to long term that brings you joy. Because at the end of the day, your mental health is the most important thing.
There's that old adage that if you love your job or you love what you're doing, then you won't work a day in your life, and that's true. I think.
Yeah.
बहुत हद तक.
And blessings come that way as well. That's my belief.
मेरा भी देखो यही mindset था because I lost my dad at a very young age, right? So we didn't have a lot of money growing up in specifically those years. So I always had this mindset of it was a very naive mindset to get materialistic things and be able to provide for the family and be able to. And I think it was all coming from a place of love where I wanted to just if somebody desired something, I wanted to do it for them, get it for them. But then that is a very, especially at a young age, you don't know what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
So you just want to make money and you're like, I don't care about my sanity or my health or whatever, right? So I started working at 17 and I got into this and up until recently when we met, I was working probably close to 17, 18 hours a day.
Yeah, you were working all the time.
Wow.
And the idea was to just make money, right?
Right.
And during that phase, right, I realized, and I did that for a good while, but then I realized that all of this is not worth anything because, like you said, when you're losing that, sanity and your patience because you're always tired, you're always grumpy, you take it out on your family.
Yeah.
And I felt that I was doing that. Even while I wasn't realizing it, I just do it, right? And then मुझे ये हुआ कि यार ये मैं सब किसके लिए कर रहा हूँ, इन्हीं के लिए कर रहा हूँ. तो if I'm not able to make time for them और उनके साथ में वो time spend नहीं कर सक रहा हूँ, तो कोई फायदा ही नहीं है. मैं अपनी ये सारी 20s 30s जो भी अपने साल लगा दूंगा ज़ाया होंगे. तो इसलिए अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह आई थिंक कि ये मुझे जल्दी अच्छी रियलाइजेशन हुई. And I was able to find an opportunity where I'm able to spend time with them, work from home, इस तरह की चीज़ जिसमें, और इसलिए I prefer working from home. I don't like going to the office. उसमें sure commute ये सब तो है ही, but major aspect ये कि you're home, you're with your family and you're able to cater to your day-to-day chores and whatnot. And I feel like जो ये जो कुछ साल है इसमें हमारी फैमिली और ज़्यादा करीब हो गई है as compared to before, and that's because we're working from home, and I think that was what COVID brought as a blessing.
Yeah, true. That's definitely. I completely agree with you there. Remote work, by far, both for businesses and for employees. It hasn't made them compromise on, like, it's made them grow closer with their families, but at the same time, it's also improved their efficiency.
And of course, you're able to make a zone.
Sorry.
हाँ नहीं, आप घर पे भी you're able to get in a zone and you're able to work, and people realize that it's not like people aren't working. Companies realize that and they allow it now. Most companies do because they think कि जब काम compromise नहीं हो रहा है, people are happier actually. Why not let them do it? अभी मेरी कई colleagues हैं, they have really young kids, and I know for a fact that if it wasn't for work from home, वो नहीं काम कर सकते. They'd have to be home with their kids क्योंकि हर कोई नानी को नहीं देना चाहता, हर कोई they don't have people who can take care of children. तो वो काम कर सक रही हैं while also being able to take care of their children, their families. तो इस तरह की opportunities, इस तरह की चीजें भी बहुत open हुई हैं इस work from home से.
I love this narrative in the international community generally about being able to work from home and generally pursuing a better lifestyle for the employee themselves. For instance, if you haven't heard recently, I think it's in Finland or somewhere like that, they've opted for a 4-day work week as compared to
3-day weekends, right?
Yeah, and I was like, that's such a smart idea because I realized it caught on.
We should do
that efficiency.
Oh, let me just get on that right now.
Like, listen, whoever's listening, whoever is in an influential part of society, please, 4-day
Make
work
this happen for us.
I promise you'll still get the same amount of work.
Personally,
your close-up cam was right there, but it's okay.
I don't know.
right.
Oh yeah, I
you
forgot.
should
Hi.
have told us that like an hour ago.
That
maybe
thing doesn't
sorry.
look like.
Oh, no.
But I think it's going to do wonders क्योंकि उन्होंने क्या किया था, वो normal दिनों में 1-2 घंटे बढ़ा रहे हैं, I guess. So it basically is the same amount of hours in a week.
And it's also very a smart move because a lot of people I know, they're currently like, because of the whole shift for a 4-day work week, the 3 days, some people are opting to take more courses on Fridays.
They're able to spend time with their families.
They're able to spend time with their families, but they're generally able to like progress their credentials and all of that.
Are they not doing this in the UK as well? I'm not sure.
I think the bill, I think they're still discussing it. I'm sure that's the case.
I know that they did it on a trial basis, but has it become the law or not? I don't think so.
I read something on this.
It did happen somewhere in the Nordics, maybe Finland, I'm not sure.
Yeah, Nordics.
Yeah, somewhere around there. ये वो countries थोड़े से इन चीजों में progressive हैं in मामलों में कि they do care about people and they want to provide for them in
their education is all. I don't know if it's Finland or what. I know somewhere on that side, their education is also quite good, especially.
So आप कहना चाह रहे हैं पाकिस्तानियों को फिनलैंड भाग जाना चाहिए?
Norway, Finland.
क्योंकि बर्फ तो दोनों जगह है ना.
नहीं, I was just appreciating.
Yeah.
I was just genuinely
appreciating. Speaking of barack, man, you've lived in this, and I'm sorry to just completely
I wanted to talk about the benefits of hybrid workplaces.
You do want to do that? Okay, go ahead.
No, but it's fine. We can cross that. I was trying to like put it somewhere in there, but
I'm always jumping between thoughts.
That's me.
Yeah, right. I mean, मैं ये सोच रहा था उस दिन क्योंकि मेरी अम्मी आमतौर पे ये टीवी पे हर बार यूट्यूब पे ना वो living in Canada, living here, living there, वो वीडियोस देखनी है. They're just shoveling snow all day.
Yeah, you have to do that. It's actually,
my God.
if you don't,
yeah,
then
you get
fined really bad,
exactly.
especially in Canada. Like,
so how the hell do you do that? You wake up at 5 a.m. and
you do it.
3 foot, 4 foot बर्फ उठाओगे गाड़ी से and your driveways and whatnot.
There are tools now, like you can use a blower or something.
Still.
Like literally people have back problems because of this.
हाँ देखो लोग realize नहीं कर रहे बेशक tools हैं पर रोज करना एक चीज.
It doesn't snow every day.
But when it snows,
no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. आजकल because of global warming and whatnot, वहाँ पे तो मौसम काफी
no, recently they had a
I know कि बहुत सारे areas हैं जहाँ पे काफी ज़्यादा पड़ती है तो बहुत ज़्यादा पड़ जाती है.
पड़ती है. There are blizzards, whatnot. उस time पे yeah, and the government will of course like salt the roads and use plows to like.
Also that right, just that.
Yeah.
It's going to ruin your car.
Oh, I mean, but cars there again, like there's equipment and whatnot. Yes, it's not easy, and that's just the price you have to pay for living.
Honestly, like it's better than like falling face first into black ice and getting a concussion. So
a lot of people still do.
No, ask me. I was one of the clumsiest children. Me and my younger sister, the one younger than me, she and I.
Are you saying you fell on your head as a kid?
I fell. It's not as a kid. Even now, I have 0
like just now. Like she'll just be walking around this room
and then down. I've done a lot of damage. To not just myself, to a lot of people.
Yeah. Damage to herself, damage to her surroundings.
Right. Literally,
I'd never really experienced a blizzard before. So I always, watched it in movies and whatnot. I thought, hey, that's fine. People can live in it.
No.
So अभी हम लोग नथिया गली थे and
yes.
unexpected
yes, I saw that.
एक unexpected किस्म का blizzard आ गया and there was loss.
I was planning on going to Nathia that very weekend.
I tried to warn everyone.
Yeah, no, I was going to be there before you, and my husband was like, it's going to snow, right? And we're going to have to put chains on our tires and the entire thing. And I was
like, I saw the snow, but I didn't know it was going to be like a blizzard. Because if you stood outside for like 5 minutes, you'd be covered in snow. And I mean covered. यहाँ टांगों तक आपके, बर्फ जमा हो जाती.
So how was your experience then?
I did not like it.
People want to go abroad into these areas, and I think this is one of the things that people don't really think about. How cold it gets.
It takes a couple of years.
It was fine. आपके पास central heating वगैरह
That's
थी.
true, but
no, but it takes a couple of years for your. People don't understand this. It takes a couple of years for your body to acclimate. For example, अगर आप पाकिस्तान में, when I first came here, it took me a couple of years to adjust to the heat. Like I would feel, and like AC like कमरे से बाहर निकलती थी, and I would actually feel like the heat was closing in on me. I felt like claustrophobic almost, right? Like it just wasn't bearable. वहाँ पर, for example, since Pakistani people are now so used to like the garmi and whatnot, जब वो Canada जाएंगे, they will feel more cold than the people that are already used to that weather. It takes a couple of years, so just keep that in mind.
Whoever is going outside, please just keep. I mean, it gets worse in people, for immigrants who are, particularly how you were talking about earlier, like they go into like areas or cities that are very, very, very like still developing, like hardly anyone there. Like Calgary, it's very cold in Calgary. I am not joking. Like and the people who I know there.
What's the temperature like? Say on like a really cold day, do you have an idea?
It's insane.
With wind chill, it can reach -30.
-30.
Yeah, even like worse.
-30, just hold on.
I mean, I'm talking like intense, but
intense.
Like, it's not.
I felt -8.
Wait, let me check.
On one day, and it was unbearable. Like
really? Oh, that was enough,
yeah. On one day, one particular time of day, -8, it was unbelievably cold. Yeah. So I can't even imagine.
But to be fair, you don't go like, for example, if you walk on the streets, the jackets there are like properly insulated.
Oh my god, this was just last year, -52.2. That was the worst.
About Ontario, but like it can get pretty cold.
Wow.
Yeah.
-52, right?
So like
that's like Siberia or whatever.
We're in the Arctic region, so like you shouldn't be expecting anything less.
This is not all of Canada.
This
I-
is just
Yeah.
like Northwest
I see what
Territories,
you're saying,
like
yeah.
British Columbia.
Can I also now jump to another thought
Yeah,
because
go
you
for it,
said
yeah.
we're in the Arctic region, and मुझे भी याद है, and this is something I want to close on, right? So, recent development. There's a company called Colossal Biosciences, and they're self-proclaimed de-extinction company. Okay. So what they want to do is,
Sounds sketch.
yeah, they are going to be bringing woolly mammoths back, and basically, when people say it, it's like, oh, Jurassic World, blah blah blah.
Do
Right?
we want that?
There's actual environmental conservation implications for this. So what's happening is around Siberia, so the permafrost is melting, right?
Yeah.
Every year it's melting, it's getting warmer. तो वहाँ पे क्या होता था millions of years ago? It was like the massive savannas of Africa. It was just trees, shrubs everywhere, massive grasslands. So when all of that died out, all of that became carbon, and that's just trapped carbon under the permafrost.
Ice Age.
So yeah, exactly. So if that melts away, that's like 1.5 trillion ton of carbon that's going to be released into the atmosphere, and that's going to happen. So what they want to do is they want to release wild mammoths back on there because they can reduce the temperature of Earth, like of that region. And how that works, I'll get into that. I'll explain. This is very interesting. They can how they're doing it is more fascinating to me at least. जो Indian elephant है ना, that's the closest living relative to the mammoth. So they have that DNA, they have woolly mammoth DNA. There's this technology called CRISPR technology.
Yes.
So they're planting an embryo inside an Indian elephant, and gestation period is like 22 months or whatever, and then she'll give
22 months.
22 months.
Yeah,
And she'll give birth to the
elephants take they like 2-3 years to like.
yeah,
have
22
babies.
months is what, like 2 years, almost 2 years.
Yeah.
So she'll give birth to the first woolly mammoth of our century.
हो गया implantation हो गई है.
You'll be surprised. This is going to happen in 2024, late 2024. The first woolly mammoth actually is going.
This is concerning.
Listen, the science has always been there, right? You remember Dolly the sheep and whatnot, right? The cloning and the de-extinction thing has always been there. But this is Jurassic Park with like a real purpose. So I'll explain how that works. अभी उन्होंने एक experiment भी किया, बल्कि उस park का नाम था Plasticine Park, I believe, in Siberia. So what they've done is they've released like 100 different species of animals, ox.
I know what you're talking about.
Right?
Yeah.
So अब उन्होंने क्या किया? They take tractors and they knock stuff down, simulating what a mammoth would do. Or what happens is the वो जो grass वो creatures है ना, they're able to keep all the vegetation down. So it helps it not regrow, which basically जब ज़्यादा trees shrubs होते हैं, they attract in heat and they take that heat to the earth, and that heats it up, like warms it up. So when there's less of that, there's more snow packing in. Obviously it's going to reflect light more, it's going to get a lot more colder. There's like 3-4 different factors. वो सब मिलके it just cools the ground. So that is the purpose, and that is how they make money on this project as well, the conservation implications. So it's really fascinating to think like we'll actually be able to see woolly mammoths in our
I
lifetime.
personally think you shouldn't be messing with things that have died out. There's a reason. I'm just saying.
I mean, उसके
The
पीछे
reason was
वो ये कह रहे हैं कि it could have been because of human intervention that it died out. So why not fix that imbalance?
Really? There's a lot of things we need to fix. I think the last thing on the list should have been to bring back the woolly mammoth. There are so many other animals
Listen, man,
currently
if
in
you
the
think
brink of
about it,
extinction.
it's really important. If that 1.5 trillion tons gets
Yeah.
released into the atmosphere,
So
you know
there's-
what that's going to do to
I
us?
know, but is there no other animal currently alive on the brink of extinction?
There's no elephant-like creature that can
Yeah.
survive out there,
yeah,
right?
that's right.
So they need those sort of creatures that can knock stuff down, that have the ability to eat plants and whatnot. And I don't think
Buffaloes?
buffaloes cannot survive. मतलब they have वो जो मैं बता था different release किसमें yak और ये चीजें हैं, लेकिन that's not going to knock trees down.
Yeah.
Like the way woolly mammoths do, or
How big do the woolly mammoths get? like
They were
this.
pretty big.
They're like
They were
You have
pretty
to go
big.
to the museum and get them.
yeah, I know, but like I'm sure, like I don't have a
They're
gauge.
bigger than African elephants.
Yeah.
If that's what you're
Oh.
So like maybe like
Huh? Maybe what?
4 moments.
For me.
4
yeah.
moments. No, I think it's that it'll be bigger than this.
5
the
moments.
height.
We can actually look this up instead of
Okay, let's
using me as a start.
I thought it would be fun.
you know, you Americans, I don't blame you. You use
I
American.
mean, I was thinking post-production.
You lived on the American.
North
continent.
American.
Listen, I was thinking post-production, but you could just take you and just measure you out.
Yeah, put
1, 2,
myself
3,
in.
5.
But Americans are famous for using weird standards, right? They're like, oh, that weighs like 4 fridges.
Americans, wow. I've never been generalized in such a way.
I mean, you lived on the continent. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I know. I get.
I
where you're
think
coming from.
I think a lot of people, especially Canadians, are at that point now. No offense to any of the Americans out there, but we don't like comparisons.
They don't like you guys either, but that.
Yeah, that's true.
10 to 12 feet.
Wow.
How tall?
That's
10 to 12 feet tall.
That's like
Is
two
that the
of
maximum?
me, man.
Yeah.
You said 4 of me.
I don't know. I don't know what mammoths look like.
I'm almost 6 foot, so that's 2 of me. That's
That's
not
2 of you.
4 of me. 4 of me would be a gigantic T-Rex.
I mean, I meant tall. I was thinking also wide. Like, what do you think? Like,
They should be big animals. I don't know. We probably
We'll
will
find
see.
out in 10 years.
trees.
In
Find out in 2024.
Yeah, in a year actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not
It's
ready for
2023,
this.
oh my God.
I'm not ready for this.
I'll tell them to stop. Colossal biosciences. We
Fizz
apologize. I guess.
I don't know, like it really.
She thinks the woolly mammoth is just going to come and like knock
You know,
right in
like
there.
stuff like this, like when you're messing with the biology of a lot of things, it really, it kind of creeps me out a little bit. Like you know how like skin
Cloning creeps
grafting
me out as well.
and did you hear about that whole
Cloning.
yeah? Did you hear about that whole human heart transplant that happened with like a pig's heart that went into that?
Oh yeah, I heard
That was like the thing.
Oh yeah.
That
think
really
that-
creeped me
yeah.
out. I was like, no.
I've read about some weird strategies like this. Somebody got somebody else's face implanted on there.
Yeah.
Some
Skin grafting, stuff like that.
I don't. Then I stopped reading about it because
No, but I
it's
find
just
it
too bizarre
really,
for
they
me.
thought this was a really big feat in like the medical,
Arena,
whatever,
yeah.
But like honestly, it didn't sit well with me. I guess it's because of my own reservations and
Yeah.
generally, but it just, it didn't work out.
Mhm.
And I knew it wouldn't work out.
You should have told them.
I should have told them. I was just like, hit them up, like, listen, this is not gonna work out. And it
Yeah.
did for a little while. The guy
Even
survived.
if he's a cop, man, you
He
can't.
wasn't a cop. He was like
No, that
a
was the
criminal.
joke.
Yeah.
Big start. Okay, do you guys want to end it there? I think this was a really fun podcast. Is there
It was
anything
really
else you guys want to
serious.
talk about? Is
It's
there
also-
something you guys want to plug?
Side.
You want to plug? This episode was sponsored by Raid Chat. No.
No, but listen, we had a Zanzla, okay?
NordVPN. What?
We had a
Did you feel
Zanzla.
Zanzla today?
Yeah, I did. I
Yeah.
was actually sitting in my car and I was trying to call you to check if you were coming. So I felt it. पहले तो मुझे वो जब भी ज़लज़ला हो रहा था I feel कि मुझे कुछ मतलब मैं शायद चक्कर
हाँ,
आ
मुझे
रहे
भी यही
हैं
लग रहा था.
पर मैं तो बैठा हूँ गाड़ी में मुझे that's not फिर
And
मुझे
I-
मेरी बहन ने कॉल किया and she was like बहुत जालिम किस्म का है Yeah.
I thought someone was kicking the
Can you
bed.
check what the Richter
Magnitude
scale or whatever it was? I feel like it was
I texted you
Substantial.
at that time. I was like, Poseidon is pretty cheesed at us. Like,
Yeah.
listen. Like, are you sure you want to get this done?
Islamabad mein there's a marathon going on right now. Do you guys know about that?
What type of
A marathon, like
Really?
an actual marathon.
Ooh,
Yeah,
6.3.
6.3 is massive.
That's big.
really? Yeah,
Yes.
but like we've been facing.
That is
that-
substantial at least. Oh,
Yeah.
मतलब 6.3 का Richter
What
scale
was
is.
that? In that
But
like
like,
the time wise, it was like 10 seconds.
but there have been recently a lot of earthquakes. Have you noticed generally? Like in the
Yeah.
middle of the night, I'll be sleeping and I'm like, oh god, my cat's like kicking. But then I realized my cat's not big enough to like start kicking the bed.
Mhm.
And then I realized, oh,
I sleep too.
I don't sleep through them.
I don't really, I feel like I absorb the vibration. I don't, मुझे ज़्यादातर महसूस नहीं
What
होते.
does that mean?
I don't know.
He has cats, like cats purr. Sometimes you can't tell. They are purring on you and then you're like,
No, but that is a very different. What?
Cats purring and earthquakes are the same thing. So I think I
No.
want to end that. On that note,
That's
thank you so much for coming on board. I think this was probably one of the most fun podcasts we've done.
Really?
Or I'm pretty mad कि मेरे दोनों co-hosts नहीं थे. They would have had a lot of fun as well. But we would love to have you on again some days. Sometimes.
Stay tuned.
if you like us.
Stay tuned for this.
This.
Alright. Bye.